see me? You got a visual on me? I feel like I'm out of the camera. It's fun, too. I'm fine being out of the camera. It's not that big of a deal. How we doing? Good over there? Good on the left, good on the right. All right. I thought that was it. Fooled me. Here we go. All right, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us out there in Boulder City. I am here live with Coach Bubba Mariani of the Boulder City varsity football team, the Eagles. Thanks, Coach. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Listen, last week didn't go our way.
No.
Tell me about the game. How did you see it go? And obviously, I mean, you were disappointed. It was, really lopsided.
Yeah.
Break it down for me.
And it's one of those things too where you look at it and, every year there's one team in 3A that the season ends the way they wanted it to. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Everybody kind of goes home, and I thought we had a good chance. We really didn't play our best game. I think it was early in the game. I was telling my wife the other night when we were talking, I go, early in the game, some things happened and kind of looked at the boys, and we just weren't there. We just didn't have that, eye of the tiger, sort of thing,
right,
where I just knew we had it, where we've had that in other weeks. And, we got some lousy calls early in the game that kind of set us back and kind of set the tone a little bit lower than we wanted it,
Yeah.
And we just didn't bounce back, and that's okay. Mowapa's a very good team. I think we're very comparable to them in terms of athletes and things like that. And, they stuck it to us twice this year. I gave up 100 points to them. They're a good team. And, it gives us, what I like is, especially with the younger guys and stuff like that, it gives them kind of something we need to shoot for. And, with all of our goals, we can kind of keep that in mind of, this is what happened to us, let's not let that happen again.
Went this way. Yeah, you know what? I don't disagree with you.
You knocked me out.
Oh, did I?
Can't hear anything.
Can't hear anything now?
Oh, there we go.
That's weird. It's top of the line technology over here. State of the art equipment. I felt the same way. I was paying close attention to the game as I was watching. And one of the things that Mowapa does well is they move the ball behind the line of scrimmage very well, very quickly.
Right.
They make very few mistakes right after the snap.
Right.
I mean, that first second of the possession after the ball is snapped, they move the ball quickly and efficiently.
Right.
And I'm watching from behind. From the front, I mean, it looks like just a bunch of garbage all over the place. And then you have second 2 and 3 to figure out what the play is doing.
Right.
And then 4, 5, and 6 maybe to contain it. 9, 10, 11, 13,
no,
29,
and it's,
touchdown.
Their defense or their offense is tough, but that's something that we will grow on. I think our defense will kind of mature and change over the course of the years, and that's one of those teams that we've got to learn to stop. They don't change anything. They're going to run stuff you guys saw on Friday night will be the same stuff you see next year. And if we play them in the playoffs again next, you know what I mean? It's what they do. And we'll come up with a plan, and we'll get the kids to kind of buy in. And that was one of the things I thought we had a very good plan going into the game, and we just didn't execute it the way we needed to. There were some key components that kind of shut down for us, that didn't do what we needed them to do and what the plan was, and it allowed them to break loose a little bit and score, and we'll be all right.
They seem, they had enough pieces, enough key players,
right,
to effectively shut us down and run all the plays they wanted to. We knew number one going in.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say if you can just stop number one, 2/3 of their offense goes away. So number one was running rampant. Number two, don't know where number two came from. He was all over the place.
Yeah.
He played well. And their secondary, number 7. Then of course, before the game I had mentioned number 54. He wreaks havoc.
Yeah.
Thank God that guy's a senior. He'll be gone. But Yeah, but I mean, this is what Moapa does.
Right.
And you bring up a good point. The road to state finals goes through Moapa.
Right.
Period. End of story. You don't have to like it. It is what it is. We've got to beat them.
For now, we have the same conversation in 5-6 years.
Well,
it's going to go through Boulder City.
Well, let's
We'll
5 and 6 years. We'll discuss that. But for right now, it goes to Moapa.
Yeah.
Those are the guys we've got to beat.
Right.
Let's talk about some of the standout players that we had this season. Tell me about how you felt about your team and some of the seniors going out.
One of the things that I kind of told the kids right after the game and really need to express to everybody. I think a lot of the success that we had this year and a lot of my own personal success this year came from the fact that these senior boys that we came into were such great kids. I coming in and taking over a program that really hasn't been unsuccessful. That's something that's kind of, people don't take into consideration. It's very easy to take over a program that has been garbage and hasn't been winning games, but that's not the way it's been. Taking over for Coach Morelli, he had a good program going and kind of stepping in and definitely doing things in a very different way. You got to get a lot of buy-in, and those seniors from day one were all in on what we needed to do. And a lot of them at first I really didn't know where they would fit in, but almost every senior played a significant role in what we did this year, and I could not have asked for a better group.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. They did an outstanding job, and they're a fun group.
Yeah, they are.
This particular class means a lot to me.
Yeah.
My daughter's in this class. I've known these kids since kindergarten.
Right.
Literally every single one of them.
Right.
I remember their birthday parties at the park. I mean, growing up in Boulder City, it's just something you really can't describe. I didn't grow up here, but my kids did. It's hard to describe on the outside, but I mean, you just know these kids, and then you know their parents, and then then you're hanging out at the bar one weekend and you see your kids' friends' parents, and you're like, oh hey, and then before you know it, I mean, they're graduating and we're all crying in the stands.
Yeah, and it's it's such a different atmosphere out here, and it's one of the things that really drew me to it and that I absolutely love. Asa just said something. We were sitting over there talking about how much he enjoyed playing with his friends this year with the Bears program. He's played football before, but it was always kids from all over the place. It really wasn't that school community. But now seeing him experience it where it's, you're playing football with the kids you also go to school with and the kids in the neighborhood that you see and you hang out with. And it makes it special. And Boulder City is very special in that because you grow up forever. There's a good chance you were in second, third, and fourth grade in the same class with the same group of kids. You know what I mean? So it's fun to be around those kids. And that's the thing too, that, I've coached teams all over the place, and there's always drama within the team. And, there's this clique and that clique and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
I see a lot of that.
These kids, I mean, you see guys hanging out one day and you're like, oh, okay, that's a friend group. And then a couple days later, you see that same guy with a different group. Like, oh, they get along over there, and then you hear about them hanging out on the weekends, and it's an unbelievable community, and I love every second of it.
Yeah, the other day another coach mentioned, and I won't say who, because now I'm kind of working on this theory, mentioned that this class, this pre-COVID class, was the last of the traditional classes, where the kids are really enthusiastic and fun. And I don't know. I'm not going to say that, next year's class is junk, but I'd be interested to see how that kind of theory plays out with COVID, post-COVID, and pre-COVID.
I agree. And I think there's a group of the COVID is a huge thing for a lot of these kids right now in the formidable years and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think some of the younger kids, they didn't have that same effect. You know what I mean? They were younger.
They were younger.
It didn't change the way they did stuff very much. So I think those kids in 6th, 7th grade, I don't think the COVID effect really happened to them. These guys were kind of the last group. I think we've got a few years where the COVID stuff really affected the way school works for them.
Be a bunch of weirdos in school for a few years, and then we'll get back to some normal kids.
Specifically Nacho.
So let's talk about the team you inherited, because you brought that up, and you know what? You didn't get worse.
No.
So that's good. I looked at the numbers. I compared, a lot of our stats, from last year to this, last season to this season. Obviously, the biggest change came that we changed the offense completely from a running team to a passing team.
Right.
The numbers are off the charts. Our passing completions last year was 58 total, 169 this season. Our carries last year were 356, 233 carries this season. Our rushing yards last year, here's a big one, 2,347 yards
Yep.
last year, 1,030 rushing this year. So but then passing is a complete 182. So last year's passing yards 956. This season's passing yards 2,400 yards.
Right.
I mean, so when we go down to the touchdowns, everything pretty much stayed the same. Defense did pretty well, very comparable to last season. Not a big change in defense.
Right.
And then scoring wise, last season we did score 49 touchdowns versus 41 this season. 341 points last season, but the points per game were right at 31 and 29. Right. So, you took a team, you changed it into your model, and you kept us at least a winning program
right.
and into the playoffs and showing really well. And I'll be honest, in my personal opinion, the most exciting team to watch in 3A.
Thank you.
So how do you feel about your season? And tell me, now that the season's over, you can kind of share some things when you came in about the defense and the offense. Tell me how you implemented your changes.
No, one of the big things, and I've reiterated it a bunch, is, I'm definitely up for throwing the ball around and doing that sort of thing, but it really is dependent on what we have within the program. I think we lucked into Gage this year that, he is a phenomenal quarterback. I think he's one of those kids that, you're only going to get a kid like that every couple years, and I think we've got a good set of quarterbacks kind of coming up in the future, and I think Gage is the first one to really, kick this off where we can do a lot of things with him. And that was a huge thing. So I was like, I think we've got the receivers, but we need to find the quarterback. When he stepped up, I was like, oh my God, this is great.
Yeah.
But looking at what we've got in the future, we've got some groups of kids where we've got a strong offensive line and not as many running backs or not as many receivers, so it's going to be different based on, year to year kind of what we have. But when we really started, I was like, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to go different. We're going to really air it out and have some fun with it because we've got the talent to do it. And then, early on, I said, the offense is going to be a drastic change. I want to keep the defense as similar as it was before, and Coach Render did a very good job kind of doing that, making it a little bit of his own. Mm-hmm. And we really focused on the offensive stuff. I think more, I've always grown up and I was like a 5'2" guy, and that's kind of what I'm comfortable with. That's what my dad ran forever, and that's what I think we'll kind of move to in the future. And that's kind of where we went at the end of the year. I like it, and just super happy with the way the kids performed and the way they bought into everything. It was really a fun year.
Yeah, it was a good, exciting season. Like I said, man, you were throwing it all over the place. Everybody's talking about Boulder City, our passing game. Gage Hopkinson, he finished ranked the 5th-rated quarterback in Nevada. Mm-hmm. Gunnar Cortez comes in at number 3, but with 11 games, that's 2 more games than Gage had. Right. Now, Gage is averaging 286 yards a game.
Right.
So had we had even one more game, Gage would be ranked number 2. He would go from number 5 to number 2 with just one more game.
And that's one of those things, we lost it this year because of the sanctions and everything like that. But in the future, I'm a big proponent of us getting more games. They've got, everybody gets a 9-game schedule, but you can also add a 10th game with the Hall of Fame game.
Okay.
From here on out, I will try and get us 10 games a year. I just think it's more fun. Why not play more? If we're allowed to, I want to play as many as we can.
Yeah, yeah. I like that.
So Gage won't get stiffed on it anymore after this year. We'll make sure we take care of it.
But very exciting. And I mean, the bombs he was throwing, 40-yard bombs routinely to Easton Wellborn. Both of those guys come back next season. Tell me about who comes back next season and what you're excited about coming out of the JV team as well.
Very excited with what we've got coming back offensive line. This year, our offensive line wasn't bad. We weren't young in any way, but kind of changing things up a little bit. And we've got 5 kids coming back on the offensive line that played at some point here or there that we're very excited about. You know, you got Devin Barrow, who played guard all year. I don't think he missed a snap at right guard. Sam Bonner coming back, which is huge for us. So like those two kind of anchored everything. Landon Goodhue and Hank Stark kind of split time at right tackle. They both play. They're both very good at specific things. We've got to work them a little bit to kind of be an all-around guy. Like
sure.
Landon's very good on run blocking. He's a very aggressive kid and like will go down and like bury somebody. Hank, his footwork is very good. He does very good with pass blocking, things like that. So we got those two, and then Dylan Rushak, who didn't play a ton for us this year, but
that's a big kid.
He's a kid that we noticed over and over again later in the year. He got better during the year. It was like a subtle kind of thing where, you know, early in the year there was some ineligibility stuff and things like that, but he really put it together. And, you know, he's a guy. I mean, we've got 5 linemen coming back next year. That's a huge, huge thing for us. And then, you know, obviously Gage and Easton. We've got some younger kids that were a couple guys that had to play JV because of transfer stuff that'll be seniors next year that I'm excited to get the ball in their hands. We got some younger guys on like the B team, Gavin Cartier, who played in the playoffs. Like he's a guy that could push for a spot at receiver and like defensive end next year for us. Defensively, we've got a lot of those same guys coming back that play on the other side of the ball. And Caleb Porter was a sophomore. He played a lot of good minutes for us this year, but he'll be a guy we're really looking to. Same with GM. What's his first name? Jacob Grace Madrigal? Yeah. Jacob? Yeah.
Jacob Grace Madrigal.
It's just GM. I don't know. So those guys coming back, and we've got some younger secondary guys. Like there's not like a huge drop off. You know, we've got guys that gave us minutes that are going to step up.
Here, let me interrupt you. Hey, Mason, come over here and say hi to the camera real quick before you take off. Hey, man, thanks for a great season. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Coach, but I saw him leaving and I wanted to shake his hand. Have a good time. Hey, we're going to see you in the spring on track, right? Yeah. You playing any winter sports?
Indoor track.
Indoor track. There you go. Right on. That's what I like to hear. See you, Mason. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, some kids coming up from JV and the B team.
Yeah.
I saw Cartier. He did a good job. He's impactful.
Right.
What about center? Anyone taking snaps at center behind
honestly,
Chavez lately?
Devin Barrow, he was our backup center all year. He does a good job. But we've got a young kid who's on the JV team, Trey Adams. He did a good job. We moved him up for the playoffs. If we can get him a little bit stronger, I think that would be a huge spot for him to fill. And then we can kind of keep Devin where he's at, you know. So there's guys there, and there's other kids on like the JV line that did very good things. I need to see him a little bit more.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like a kid like Victor Becerra and Clyde Barrow, and you know some of those guys.
The Barrow brothers.
Yeah, had moments of good things that we saw in the summer, but then you don't really see them as much during the actual season. So we've got guys. We're going to have some depth there that we didn't have a ton of depth this year. You know.
Yeah. And who's the other guy you mentioned? Rushak. Yeah, that kid's huge.
Yes.
I remember seeing him on the sidelines on home games, and I'd see his jersey name, and I'm like, why isn't this kid playing? This guy's he really did a good job, and we moved him to guard, and the problem with him playing guard so much was Sam and Devin were amazing at guard. You know what I mean? Exactly
So
right.
you kind of
good problems.
Get stuck behind two kids that don't ever want to come out. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks, Coach. Let's see, what else did we cover? Oh, you know what I wanted to talk about real quick? Some people have asked, most people think that, I don't know how they think that we got, I'll just tell you the story how we came up with the Coaches Show. We did the podcast. I know I'm rambling. We did the podcast a few months ago, several months ago.
It was like February.
Right. And then right after the podcast, off the air, Coach was like, hey, we should do a weekly Coaches Show. I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. So we started putting this together. This was all Coach's idea. If you enjoyed it, you have Coach to thank. I really enjoyed it.
I loved it.
I think it's fun. I wish we had more coaches that were willing to do it.
I am
pushing.
I am pushing. I think a lot of them think I'm crazy for doing this every week. And I was like, no, I'd do it twice a week. I'd tell you after every practice we do it. But no, I'm definitely pushing it because it's a lot of fun. And it's a way to what I have enjoyed about it more than anything is, people I don't necessarily assume are watching the show will come up and I saw the show this week. I thought it was interesting. You said this. And I like giving people, and I think we could even like build on this more in the future too. I like giving people like the kind of the behind the scenes look, I mean, we get so many people that are out there on Friday nights. Like, I want you guys to know what's going on, week to week in practice and stuff. It's a lot of fun. And again, I think it's one of those things that in this community, it works and it's awesome. Yeah. I think if you were at like Coronado or Green Valley or something, I don't think there's a place for it.
Well, I think they're going to try anyway.
Right.
There's some places that work. I've noticed people taking notice.
Right.
You know what I mean. I've got a friend from California who's a high school coach in California.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing? What are you guys doing over there? How's that working out? It's a lot of fun, and it gets the community involved. And man, I've had no complaints. Maybe we could do something like once a month with with a bunch of coaches, a series of all the winter coaches, and then all the spring coaches.
And the thing too, like I'd even be able to would want to drop in because we're, I literally on the bus home from Moapa, I'm texting people and setting up meetings for all the stuff. And, some people were like, oh, so now you get some time off. And I was like, I mean, pretty much till Thanksgiving. And then we're going to get going again, kind of putting together our off-season plan and stuff like that. And love to keep everybody abreast of what we're doing. And
tell me about your off-season plan.
Well, one of the things that we talked about this earlier is my big push for everybody that's going to play football for Boulder City from here on out while I'm here, we really need to emphasize the weight room. I think the kids lift weights, but it's not to the intensity and to the goal that we really need, and I think that was very apparent when we played the Moapas, when we played Slam, a little bit when we played Virgin, but we've really, really, really got to hit the weight room with a mission, so one of the plans we're going to do is, a 3-day-a-week lifting regimen starting the week after Thanksgiving, and all the kids need to participate in it. We'll kind of do a morning and after school thing so kids that are playing other sports can participate.
Is there a weight training coach?
We've got a weight training class at school, but it's hard. It's really hard to get a lot of work in with that because
I've heard it's the funnest class in school.
Yeah, of course. But like I do 1 period, Coach Moore does 4 periods, I think. Coach Lee does 1 period, but it's hard to really get the work in when you're coming from another class. A lot of kids, like it's tough to ask somebody to get all hot and sweaty in the middle of their day and then go back to math class. And then, and then it's hard too when there's just a lot of kids in the class that are there. They want to work out for different ways, and we've got, for my weight training class specifically, we've got tennis players, we've got some football players, we've got some volleyball players, we've got some kids that don't do a sport, they just wanted to lift. It's hard to do a program that kind of fits all of their needs, and I think with the stuff that we want to do to get the kids like bigger, stronger, faster, I think we've got to kind of do it. And I'm talking with Coach Ruth a little bit and putting together a program where you could get in and work out in 30 to 40 minutes. It doesn't have to be this long thing. I think that's what a lot of people think too. Like, oh, I've got to be in there for 2 hours. No, you don't. You got to come in, do the lifts you need to do, and really push yourself for 30 minutes, and then you're done. So if we can offer that in a morning section and an after school section, get those kids in that are still playing other sports, because the other sports, they want the kids to get stronger too. It's not just a football thing. I know Coach Crine is dying for the kids to be in the weight room.
Yep.
And doing that 3 days a week and then 2 days a week kind of agility, kind of speed work and things like that, just to get the kids caught up. This is what those schools that are, winning state championships and producing all these kids, those kids work out. It doesn't just, you can't just show up in August and expect to win football games, and I think that's one of those things where I'm super, super, super competitive, and 7-3 is a great year, but I'm not happy. And I'm not going to be happy until, I honestly, I'll probably never be happy, to be quite honest with you. But putting in the work, I feel like too much, and I understand that at Boulder City, people play 3 sports, and I super, super encourage that. I want you to be doing multiple stuff, but I also don't want you to turn in your football helmet and shoulder pads and then not think about it again until July next year. So we're going to try and do some 7-on-7 stuff. This year we're going to do the spring practice, which are allowed. We'll do a little bit of that just to kind of work some things out and get the kids going. I've already told the all the varsity boys and the B and JV guys, if you're not playing another sport, we're going to do 7-on-7 stuff in the winter. You know, I don't want guys doubling up, because if you're playing a sport, go play your sport. But if you're not, let's stay involved. Let's do something. It doesn't have to be every week.
What about film study? I mean, are you able to sit down with your juniors that are gonna come back next season and study every game this past season and look at break them all down?
You know what? It's hard to do that with kids that weren't involved. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a tough thing for kids to watch, not themselves. You know, because when you're in it, and then you can understand, like, oh, okay, this is what I saw on the field. This is what you're telling me I should have done. I think you could make more out of it with that. When you're talking about kids that weren't actually on the field, it's tough to watch film when you're not that connected to it, but that's something.
What about a player who wants to, like Gage or Easton? Or do they have access to the film all year long, and they can download it all and watch it to their heart's content?
And that's something we will kind of emphasize a little bit more this year. Early in the year, we were kind of putting it out there. The kids can watch it. We weren't forcing it on them in the playoffs. We were on them a little bit more to watch it, and they really did. And that paid off in the Mater game. The kids are like, oh, I understand what's going on. You know what I mean? And that's a huge part of it, being able to see. And it's a lot to be a successful football team. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of extra work that needs to go into it that we are going to get to. And, I talked to the coaches and I talked to some of the kids about it too. What you got this year from me is about 30% of where I want the program to go. It's hard to come in and just change everything.
I mean, that's why I looked into the stats, to let you know, hey, you made a complete 180. Right. Well, not that we were losing. It's kind of a weird 180 that just changes the shift of the culture of the team, the emphasis of this team from running to passing, and you did it in a way that didn't cost us a lot of losses and make everyone second guess. I mean, as a matter of fact, like I said, you made us a very exciting team to watch.
And I think that, too, we got a lot of buy-in, and there's a lot of people that are excited about the program, and now is the time where we start to put in the work that it takes to get to that next level. I think with a lot of the young kids, and I kind of told everybody, I'm like, I'm coming in with this freshman group. The goal is, by the time they're seniors, we're 100% on the path that I want us to be on. I didn't want to come in and be that difficult guy. I want everybody to participate, but there's certain kind of sacrifices and work you need to put into it in order to get that success on Friday night. And I don't think we're at a point yet where the kids understand what that takes. And I've been a part of those programs that have gone to that next level. When I was in high school, I was in a program that went to that next level. And it's basically a year-long thing. It's not just showing up in August and throwing the pads on and learning some plays. I think with us being able to do some 7-on-7 stuff over the year, over the off season, I think you're going to see a completely different level of success with Gage and Easton when they've had an entire year to work on stuff. Kind of at the end, going into that last game, finally got to a point a little bit where we were giving those guys a lot more leeway, and you can kind of do your own thing a little bit and make adjustments out on the fly. I mean, a kid like Easton, I'll go ahead and say it next year, he's going to be our guy. Easton should break every record in the state of Illinois, going way back, in the state of Nevada for receiving yards next year, receiving yards and receiving catches. And I don't think that's a crazy outside the box statement based on their relationship. We will start putting stuff in over the summer that no matter what you do, Easton and Gage are going to know what the answer is to stop that. You know what I mean? So if you want to go outside coverage on Easton, Easton's going to run a slant. You want to go inside with a guy over the top, now we're going to run a quick out. And if we can get them on the same page with that, we almost don't have to call any plays. Just you guys go out and do your thing.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Right on, Coach. Well, man, I like everything that you're saying. What did you think about your first season as a head coach? Was there anything different than being an assistant versus a head coach now?
Yes. Yeah, it was very different. It was very, very close to what I expected it to be. Mm-hmm. But honestly, it was better. There wasn't a day that went by, and I'm a guy that, for the last few years, I don't want to go to school today. I don't care, but every morning I woke up and was super excited to be at the school. And part of that is just the community and the teachers and, the people I get to work with that are just in it for the right reasons and want everybody to succeed. The guy who's got probably the worst job in Boulder City is TJ Steckelberg now. Him being over the athletic department and kind of having to clamp down on stuff. And, I go to him all the time.
God bless you, TJ.
Yeah. And, tell him all these things that I want to do. And, and I'm not going to lie, I've thrown out some crazy ideas that I know are going to be a no, and and I'll throw it to him and just wait for I don't think we could do that, and that's okay, but it's great having someone that has your back. Same thing with Coach Moore. There's at any point I can talk to those guys and they are completely open and they want what's good for the program, and they have been a huge help, and then you go into, even more so, talking to Coach Morelli and kind of bouncing some ideas off of him. Coach Ruth is in that same room and he's down on the sidelines and stuff like that. It's been phenomenal, and I am so grateful for this group, and I really hope that everybody sticks around for a long time, but that's one of the beauties of Boulder City is nobody leaves, so I know they're not going anywhere.
Man, it was a real privilege to see you mime on the sideline at that referee on Friday night.
Because I wasn't allowed to say anything. He told me I couldn't say anything else.
That was the best. And people have asked me, did you get that on video? I'm like, no. Listen, here's the thing. You will never, ever, ever find me, videoing anything that one of our coaches does not want seen. I'm way above that. But man, I almost wish I had, because it was just the greatest thing. And he's like, not a single word, and you're miming. Oh man, and it was hysterical.
And the thing too, and I think that's what the kids kind of caught on to this year. And I said it back in our first podcast. I want to be a high school football coach because it's fun. These guys that go on to play college football, it's different. It's a business there.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Now, especially now.
You're doing football from 6 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And you've got to really, really, really love football to do that. And that was one of the things, when I went away to school, I was like, I don't like this. This is too much. And I tell the kids all the time, and especially in the playoffs, kind of explaining to them, you're going to remember stuff, and you might go on and play college football. You might go on and play pro football for those people that are lucky enough for that. But even when you talk to those guys, they remember the 4 years in high school. Those are the things. They remember every guy. They remember every game. It's the purest, most fun time to play football, where it still matters,
Yeah.
And tried to express with the kids too this year that it's fun. We're playing a game. Go out and have fun. There wasn't, even in the loss on Friday night, there's still fun aspects to it. Yeah, you're devastated that you lost, but at the end of the day, it's still just a game. And we had a blast this year. I don't think there wasn't a day at practice where we didn't laugh in some way, shape, or form, be it at somebody or at something that happened. A lot of times at the expense of the coaches and things like that. It's just fun. The saddest part about the season ending is I feel like I'm not going to get to hang out with my friends anymore. You know what I mean? And I know I'm the coach, and I know I'm not, they're not my buddies, but it's that family, and you just want to be around them. I was bummed yesterday.
It's
just
hard not to be buddies, man.
Right.
Especially with this group, they were saying, this group of boys. They were so much fun.
Yeah.
And not only that, the band, the cheerleaders. Right. Cheerleaders are hysterical.
Yeah.
Just hang around for them. You just roll and laugh.
Yeah.
Just the stuff that comes out of their...
And that's the thing that I am really excited about with, again, being in the Boulder City stuff, where, we live here. I know in 5-6 years, I'm going to be at Vinny's and Mason's going to be here. You know what I mean? And
I have a great...
Just sit down and talk, and, we'll follow, the career of Derek and Brady as they go on, and, the other kids that go on. And, you saw in the podcast, everybody's going to be a fireman. So if I miss my friends, I'm just going to light something on fire. And I know 15 of these dudes are going to come and show up at our house.
Yeah. No one, not a single one of them will stop the fire, though.
Yeah, no.
They'll let the fire run wild. No, but I've got a video. Remind me to show you, man, a hysterical video when I was on the sideline. Not suitable for prime time, but man, it's a hilarious video right behind some of the players.
And I didn't even throw it out there, but the other thing too that I think I know she does a good job, and I know everybody notices she's all over there, but having a principal like Amy involved and just around is just, she's literally the best, you know, and I have had such a blast talking to her and, you know, seeing her on the sidelines and stuff. And early in the year, there was, I forget what game it was, but it might have been the first game or something. I think it was. I think it was the Valley game. You know, she was in the middle of silence, and I walked over and I was like, "Hey, you having fun tonight?" She was like, "Don't talk to me. We're in the middle of a game." I go, "It's a game. It's fun. Like, are you having fun? Is this good?" You know, and like, it's been a lot of fun. One of the best things, and I can actually show you this video, is you know, after we beat Virgin, you know, we've got the video and like it clicks and shows like the end of the game and everything, and it's like kind of super like zoomed in more than it should be, and Amy's standing right next to me, and I grabbed her and gave her a big hug. Like, it's just fun. Like the community and family aspect of it is, you're not going to get this anywhere else. You know, you go to the other schools over the hill, and a lot of the kids and a lot of the adults, like, you guys are just a number, and here it's family, and like everybody is welcome back forever, you know.
Yeah, and you know, there was a post on Facebook earlier about, you know, two of the players, and just a reminder, you know, we're not going anywhere. There's still a whole lot of sports left to play. Wrestling's coming up, basketball. I don't want to miss any flag football. There's a ton of sports, and then all the spring sports as well. Boys volleyball, swimming. We do a lot of good things. So shout out to everyone playing multiple sports.
Well, I actually have to say this was, I mean, it's not funny. I actually was a little bit heartbroken for him. But growing up, Ace has been to all of like my stuff at Desert Pines. Like, he was there, he was involved. And so he's been there. He knows what it means when the seniors are done playing, and like it's the end of the year, and like he's been on the field for like the seniors crying and like that whole thing. Yeah. And this year was really the first time that Zay, my little guy, was involved with that sort of stuff. And I mean, he was devastated. And, you know, with the realization that he's not going to see Brady play again. I mean, he got a haircut to match Brady. Like, that was like a whole thing. We had to go to Brady's hairstylist. We had to get his mom to give us the number so we can go in and be like, make him look like Brady. And, you know, just panicked about that, and the fact that he's not going to see Derek play football anymore. My wife said he was like inconsolable for 45 minutes on the drive home. Yeah. And, you know, that's the stuff that breaks my heart, is like how much these, like, the younger people looking up to them and don't do it. You know, they don't get to see him play anymore. And we had to explain to him, like, well, no, we'll go see him play basketball. We'll go see him play volleyball. You know, we've got, you know, you'll be around Derek all the time during baseball. So that was a little bit of a consolation. But, you know, also, you know, we threw it out there like, you know, I don't want to end like that. So, all right. So we got the first graders in. They're going to win state.
Yeah. Listen, man, that's that Boulder City thing. Yep. You know, that kind of thing. Well, thanks, Coach. Thanks for a great season. And, man, we look forward to doing this again. Maybe we can put something together on a monthly thing for some winter sports and some other coaches.
Sounds good.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. Thanks for suggesting all this.
I don't know if you can get Coach Crine to come in on a weekly coaches show for baseball, but I will be his proxy 100%.
Will you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Man, I love Coach Crine. He was on the sideline a couple of football games, and that guy's he's just the coolest cucumber, man. I love that. Dude's awesome. Thanks to Quantum Printing for making this backdrop. If you guys want the BC Sports Network to come anywhere, just let me know. We pack up all this thing, we can go anywhere we want. Let me give some shout outs since this is our last coaches show for the football season. Thank you, Miss Wagner, for letting me get on the field and do my thing and get all that video content and get in your way. I was in Miss Wagner's way often. I thought she was going to yank my media pass more than a few times.
I could put a highlight film together between just the clips that the two of you got. You guys pretty much got every big play between the two of you all year, every big play.
Yeah. Speaking of big plays, if there's any players that are looking to play college, I've got a ton of video. Okay. I mean, just a ton. I literally recorded every single play, and volleyball is the same way, because then it becomes this thing where, like, you never know when the next breakout play is going to be. So you have to record every single one.
And that's something I really want to try and put together in the future. And I think that's something that might happen a little bit for us with some of the programs that they're talking about putting in with the school and stuff. But we get the huddle film, which is from up in the press box. It's pretty far zoomed out. It's good for us to learn and watch and study and stuff like that. But it's not great for like a highlight film kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's something in the future I really want to find a person or two that kind of has the like good cameras and like some editing and stuff like that to come and do some games.
It's coming. So, we're working on, I don't know if we've discussed this or not. Maybe we have, but what I'm doing with the football games and now volleyball, and then and I tried to make it out to tennis and I tried to get out to soccer. I realized real quickly it's unsustainable. Yeah. It's for tough. For me, I got a full-time job. So does everyone else. But
how good are things with like the family? Could we just leave them and they'd be all right on their own, and then you could just be a full-time sports guy?
That's
no. You want them at home?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's ask Abby because I don't know.
Yeah, they love their dad. See, there you go. No, I can't go anywhere. But even so. So what I'm looking to do is, talk with Mr. Stuckelberg and Miss Wagner about, some collaboration. But really want to get some students doing what I'm doing.
Right.
So really what I've been doing for the last several months is I got it in my head where I thought, okay, what I'll do is I will get out there and I will make all of the content as an example to be like, this is all of the great, amazing content you could make. Then we'll upload it and see how it does. I'm getting an education because I've never done any of this. Not this, not that, not the social media thing. I don't do any of this stuff. But I like to do new things, and that's what I'm always up to. So if I can replace myself with a bunch of students, and there's already been a few students that have approached me, and I've talked to them, either we're going to work something out with the school, I hope, or we'll do BCSN as a program on the side that students can participate can do all that. Because I'm spending way too many hours on this stuff. It's fun, don't get me wrong, and I love it because I'm a creative guy, but it's unsustainable.
And one of the things, I think there's been a lot of people that have been very interested in it and think everything that you're doing is absolutely amazing, that I think people do want to participate. I don't think that's going to be a hard sell to
and
get
I
people
want
to
you
come
to
help.
participate.
Yes.
Because I want to take a break. Plus, I've got some games to call coming up next season. I'm going to be doing this coming season, I'm going to be subbing in for Dr. Huxford in some basketball games and some volleyball games, and then potentially doing some stuff on the football field next season. So definitely what I'm doing now, if you're interested, DM the Instagram page and let me know that you would like to go to these sporting events and get that kind of video. It's very specific what we're doing. It's like you said, I've been studying the other Instagram pages and stuff, and the content that we're getting, the way we're getting it is, in my opinion, better quality than some of the other stuff that you get from these zoomed out pics, and you gotta figure out, and then they have to highlight, this is the guy to watch on the little field,
exactly.
So let's do it. If you're interested, let me know. Anyway, let me continue on with my thank yous and close it out here. Congratulations to Coach Jamie Pappas and Rochelle Huxford for their girls 3A championship in tennis. Thank you, Coach Bubba, for pitching this show and coming up with this idea. That was fun. Thank you to the band and the color guard for bringing all the spirit this season. I always say high school football has three elements. That's the team, the band, and the cheerleaders. Thank you, cheerleaders, for bringing all of the laughs all season long and the Eagle spirit. The sign of a true professional coach, as you know, is to put on a great show while chaos surrounds you. Cheerleaders, you guys are pros. I applaud you. Congratulations. Great job. Keep it up. Let's see. Congratulations. The big shout out. Big shout out to Coach Amanda Carducci for taking the boys soccer program on 3 days notice. That was amazing. And all the boys who participated in the boys soccer program as well. You guys stepped up. You played a season despite, the odds being against you. I congratulate you for that as well. Good job, Eagles. Let's see. What did I miss? That's it. All right. Oh, the podcast. Let me explain real quick. A lot of people will stop me and they'll be like, hey, I watched the podcast. I love it, but I didn't find where's the Coach Reese one. So let me explain. So we have an audio podcast, and then we have this coach's show. The audio podcast can be found wherever you download podcasts, such as Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon, Audible, Spotify. Wherever you search for podcasts, all you need to do is search for the Boulder City Sports Network. That's Boulder City Sports Network, and it'll bring you right to the Audible podcast. We've interviewed Coach Bubba, Coach Bobby Reese, Coach Schultz. I mean, the list goes on and on. student athletes as well. So if you're interested in listening to the podcast, that's how you find it. And then also you can go check the YouTube channel for the Coaches Show. And Tyler, our associate producer, thank you, Tyler Poindexter, our associate producer for BCSN. He is in the process of getting all of our audio podcast uploaded to our YouTube channel as well. So soon you'll be able to see all of those there. And as of last night, Tyler just created a brand new TikTok account for us.
Okay.
So BCSN is now on TikTok as well. And
Are you going to be doing dances on TikTok?
Man,
I hope so. A lot of dances.
I've seen, I got like this million view dance. Me and Nacho's dance.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out.
You didn't show Coach that one?
We will see it after the show.
She's not that great, but I really nailed it.
I've seen you shake it. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So, well, thanks, Coach. Thanks for a great season.
All right,
congratulations. And we'll see you next season.
Sounds good.
Hopefully we'll see you before then.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys. We're out. Tyler, here's the music.